Hello everybody, welcome to another hardware or somewhat hardware review. Even though this is an N64, this is not an ordinary N64. This N64 I recently bought, and I do have a fantastic blue N64, but the reason I got this one is that it's modded to display RGB. So I can run it through my OSSC or my open source scan converter and play in a little bit, so it'll look a little bit better, or at least a lot better than it used to be. But it's really cool though. I really like it so far, and I like it too. And I also like about this mod, this guy that modded it. If we look, let's see here. Look, I know it's kind of hard to see, but he took out the flaps. You know, every N64 game, at least the North American one, has this little thing here that prevents it. You know, and this is North American, and usually a North American N64 could only play North American N64 games. But what this modder did, he removed those flaps. So this is a region-free N64. So a region-free modded, a region-modded RGB. Sorry, I'm getting kind of mixed up in my words here. It's a region-free. It's a region-free RGB modded N64. Whew, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So yeah, so I can play Japanese games in RGB on this N64. Now it's cool, this too, I'll show in a little bit, and in a little bit I'll show you this too. It's cool to see this regular power light, the guy mounted it to change colors. So it changes, it's a color changing LED he'd mounted it to. And the N64 logo lights up as well, which is neat, which I'll show footage of in a little bit. And also I will also show footage of what my games look like in an RGB as well. So yeah, but other than that, it's just a regular N64. Anyway, in case I myself paid about 110 bucks for it. I paid about 100 and I think it was 110, 120, maybe even 130. But I thought it was well worth it, and there were a little bit expensive. This modder did have a little bit more expensive mods for it, RGB modded ones. But I think that was just because, you know, these side ones they'd have side LED mods too, the side LED lights. But truthfully, this was just what I needed. So I didn't need any other like fancy LED lights. It's just cool to have this light up though. It's pretty cool. And of course, you know, it didn't come with an expansion pack or a transfer pack, but thankfully I just transferred my expansion pack from my fantastic blue one to this new one. So as this will be the one I'll be using, this will be my main one I'll be using. So, but yeah, it's really cool. And anyway, now we'll go to some footage I'll show you what this looks like being lit up. And then after that, I will show you some RGB footage. I'll be showing you some footage of this running. You know, I'll show you. Sorry about that. I will show you footage of this running through the OSSC. So let's get to it. Anyway, as you can see here, the LED changes color, and that's pretty cool. That's what I like about this modded N64 of RGB, because it was part of the kind of like a little bonus of sorts. So that's really cool. So anyway, so yeah, I like how it changes from blue to red to some other random colors. So yeah, I thought that's pretty spiffy. Anyway, let's go on to some gameplay footage. So anyway, here is Super Mario 64 running through a SCART cable through my OSSC. But for all of this footage, normally I would run it through I would run the OSSC through the iScan BP50 to normalize the effect a bit. But I must say, even straight running it through the OSSC through my capture card looks pretty dang good. Forget what I'm doing here. I think I might be in the early Jolly. I think I might be in Jolly Roger Bay. I think the course is called. Just to show, I think I'm swimming around, hopefully not dying too much. I think I did one of the more easiest, well, I would say the more easier stars, but I think I just got a star where I have to open up all these chests and get the star. Well, so yeah, so you can see how, it looks. And also this is displayed, I am displaying this through on all these games I'm showing off. I'm displaying through line double mode. So they're 480p. I tried doing 720 like the line triple mode or the line on upwards, and it is, yeah, I think my TV cannot do that. At least the TV I'm using for this anyway. But anyway, they look, no matter how you slice it, I think they still look really good. Better than if I would have just used composite or S video. So yeah, so enjoy this footage and we'll move on to the next game. Anyway, since I haven't had a fighting game yet to feature on this review, here's Killer Instinct Gold for the N64 through RGB. And this, I could have done Mortal Kombat as well, but I figured I just wanted to do, I wanted to mix it up a bit per se, and use the only other one of the only other fighting games I have on the console. Well, actually, I have a little bit of them, but I thought for the heck of it, I'll give Killer Instinct some love. And I didn't do all that great, because I think I was able to win. Thankfully, I was able to win a couple matches to help really to show off my RGB for this review. So hopefully I'm not sucking all too much, but I'm not. It is what it is. I'm not the great at Killer Instinct, although for being a combo heavy game, I think I pulled off a couple small combos. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next game. Okay, for this next game, I thought I'd do Quake, the first Quake for the N64. And why I chose the first Quake is because in their options menu, there's an option to disable the anti-aliasing filter that accompanies all N64 games. And not to get too much into it, the N64 had hardware-based anti-aliasing, and that basically would smooth out the jaggies you would see on games. Although as a result of that, most games would be a really smudgy, smurry mess. And actually, for this review, my games do look a bit better. They're not as smudgy. Although, there is a way to using Game Shark to disable the anti-aliasing. But I think, I think My Life in Gaming did a piece on that if you're interested. So, but anyway, for anti-alias, anyway, for the RGB through the OSSC with the filter off, which that's how I played this game for this to show off this review, it looks really good. It looks pretty awesome. So I think I just shot some enemies. I think I got a little bit far. Although I keep starting from the beginning because I'm too lazy to find a memory card for it. Although it has a password save, but I just wanted to show off the game to see to show off the non-filtered Quake 1 for the heck of it. But anyway, it looks good, it plays, it looks fun, it's fun to play. Well, anyway, enough of that, let's move on to the next game. And now, here we have Mario Kart 64. And yeah, it looks pretty good, it looks pretty awesome here. It controls well, although it's been a while since I actually played this game, so I haven't done the best. I think in Luigi, I just play like the Mushroom Cup and those courses, so it had been so long because I'm so used to like like the more newer Mario Karts, like 7 and 8, and maybe even and maybe even Double Dash. But yeah, I'm more used to Mario Kart 7 and 8's power setting controls than the Mario Kart 64. But anyway, here's the footage, and I think here's me just trying to win. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, we'll go after a couple seconds here. We'll go on to the next game. And of course, what wouldn't an RGB N64 episode be without one of the best games and one of the best console first-person shooters of them all, GoldenEye. Well, anyway, yeah. Anyway, here's what it looks like through my RGB modded N64. It looks not half bad. It looks pretty fun. I like it. It plays fun, and it's good to blast enemies once again on the way to save the world once more. Although it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Although I know another note. I know they made an HDMI. An HDMI N64 modification, which I guess might look even better than this. But for what it's worth, the N60 this looks really, really good. And I'm happy that it doesn't look not half as bad as if I just used a composite cable or an S video cable. So it looks pretty darn awesome. Well, in closing, what do I think about the RGB N64 mod I got? Not too bad. I'm happy that now, hopefully, I can play my N64 games without having them look too much like a very smeary, gross anti-aliasing mess. But and plus I am fully well aware there are HDMI mods, but they were way too much than I'd want to pay for at the moment. And actually, with the right settings, all of my N64 games, I feel like they're actually playable now. So I can actually play these games and not have to worry about them looking like the said mess of a anti-aliasing mess. And also, in the future, and again, as I mentioned previously in this review, My Life in Gaming, that YouTube channel, did a piece or a review or whatever you call it on the using Game Shark to disable the hardware-based anti-aliasing in N64 games. And I have done that before I got this, and I might have to try that again, as I do have the most updated Game Shark I could get. I think it's version 3.3 or something or other. So it's pretty. So I might have to give that a try as well. So I've been having issues getting it to work, but I think I can get it going. But anyway, yeah. And actually, this mod, by the way, I got it from a site from an eBay modder called Maniacs Mods. And yeah, and he had a couple other modded N64s, but I liked it because they even had one besides having the front. As I mentioned, as having a front LED, they had side color changing LEDs as well. But I figured for my setup, I really didn't need it. It looked cool, but just having a front color changing LED was good enough for me, and it was a little bit cheaper too. At least it was more than it was something. It was right in my price range I wanted to afford. So yeah, so what I myself would, if you can't quite shell out the money for an HDMI mod at this point, which to me I want to do sooner or later, this RGB N64 mod, it does the job. I can actually play my games in a better resolution, and it does what it needs to do. So I would highly recommend this mod if you're able to. Or heck, if you have a lot more money, then sure, go for the HDMI mod as well. I think it's called Ultra HDMI or something. I'm not quite sure. And actually, My Life in Gaming did a piece on those and on that as well. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, and if you like what you see, please do so. And of course, next month I'll be doing a couple fresh episodes of Power Up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching again, and happy gaming!